Good morning and welcome everyone to the Ultimate Trading Webinar for Beginners. My name is Danny and I will give you the webinar today. And what we're going to do is first we will open a notepad to write down all of our notes, and then we will maybe place it in the middle. Of course, if you guys would like to jot down your own notes, so I would recommend you to maybe do that now. So we will begin as I said, with an introduction to AvaTrade. So as many of you know, we are a regulated company. We're here for almost 2 decades, since 2006. Currently, we have 9 licenses worldwide. If you got any question or any queries along the way, you can easily contact the customer service here at the bottom left. You can either chat with us or communicate via the WhatsApp. Another way for people who are using a different platform is to contact us directly at cs@avatrade.com. If you got any questions or queries regarding trading, so you can have a senior account manager assigned on your profile to give you full support through the process in terms of really everything under the trading umbrella. So calculations, risk money management, analysis, any kind of questions, your senior account manager is there for you to assist without additional charge, by the way, any additional charge. So this is what we have to assist you along the way in terms of those tools. As an addition, I'm going to also display, like I said, we're going to work with the web trader. So today we have the web trader desktop version. This is the computer version. And we obviously have it on the app itself, and it's called the AvaTrade Trading app. Okay, easy to find on your store. If you're using a phone, so you'll probably find it on the store. So like I said, this is the desktop version. We're also going to mention actually the other platforms that we have, just for you guys to know them. So we've got MetaTrader 4, MetaTrader 5, Ava Futures, Ava Options, and lastly, as I like to mention, Ava Social. What this app allows you to do is it allows you to do copy trading. Copy trading can be extremely useful because this means that I can link my account to another trader's account. So this means that if for trader A, let's suppose, and we would like to copy trader B, this means that my account will be linked to trader B's account, and then I will enjoy whatever strategy he is using. Now, a very common problem that can be is, what if my balance is not the same as trader B? Right? So what if, for instance, trader B has $100,000 and I'm only with $10,000? In this case, how can I possibly copy the same strategy? Because I might run into an issue in terms of the budget, right? I might not be able to have, I might not have enough margin to do the same strategy as trader B. In this case, what this app is offering is actually a lower lot size. So I still get to enjoy the strategy. I can still link my account to trader B's account, but with a lower lot size. It's quite amazing, to be frank. I do suggest you guys to explore. It's extremely can be extremely helpful, especially if you're a beginner and you're still not sure what strategy to use and if it's good or not. You can just link your account, and if the trader is good and is performing well, you're just going to copy this nice performance. Okay, so keep that in mind. I do suggest a little bit of research before making a decision, and not just to randomly click and pick someone that you don't think that is successful. I think there is a typo here. Futures. Okay, so we're going to carry on. Actually, we'll bring that down. We'll bring that down because everything I'm going to show you from this point will only be found on the web trader, not on MT4 or MT5. Okay, so in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the menus at the top left, and then we're going to carry on down. So we're going to fold that to have the whole screen for ourselves. And now we're going to begin. So this icon thingy here is to lead me to my personal details. So I've got my accounts, payments, deposits, withdrawals, whatever I need will be found on those 2 tabs. Now, if I'll carry on down, the trade is, well, for trading, and this is where we are. Underneath, we've got positions. Underneath, we've got orders. Underneath, we've got history, which we can select what range we want to be displayed. Underneath, we've got the signals. So let's talk a little bit about the signals, understand a bit how it works. As you can see, the way that it's built, we've got here different categories here to the left. But if I'll begin from here, in this space here, we see the name of the instrument. We've got the buy here. Mostly, we've got a sell here for the Aussie dollar. And then we've got stop loss, entry, take profit, view signal, and the time that it was produced. We still don't fully understand what this all means, but we're just going to click to see how it's built, and then we will understand how the what's the meaning of everything we see here. So crude oil is at the top. It seems like it's in a buy type. We've got some sort of analysis in here, some resistance, some support line here in red, and the signal last right here. And this means actually that, and the TP matches the take profit, stop loss matches the SL matches the stop loss, and let's see how this works. So when we click here, when we're clicking here on view signal, we get this analysis. We can click here to expand. We can also match the validity to what we see on the chart here, with playing through the different time frames to get a more picture that is closer to what we get in here. Now, if we don't, if we want to just carry on without doing the analysis, because we've already got it from here, we can just select the scenario. So let's go with the buy, clicking here on buy, and now what we get is this. Okay, we've got take profit marked for us, we've got stop loss marked for us, and this happened automatically just by me clicking on the buy scenario. Now let's take another one and explain through the process what happened here. So we're going to select gold. We're going to click here on view signal and clicking here on the two arrows. But before we're going to do that, let's explain what TP and SL actually means. So when we buy or sell something, it can be market execution, okay? And we've got pending orders. Pending orders. This will be buy or sell by market, buy or sell by market. And right here, we've got pending orders. So we've got execute when price hits, which is opening the position automatically when reaching the price. Okay, we'll extend it a little bit. And what we've got take profit, we've got stop loss. Okay, and what the take profit is doing is it's closing the position automatically with a profit when reaching the price. And the difference between the take profit and the stop loss is that the stop loss is closing it automatically with a loss. This means that we get to fully automate the closing for the position using the signal. So if I'll click here on buy, okay, so I clicked here, then I'm going to click in here. I'm not even going to bother to extend the chart, and I've got the numbers ready. Now from here, I can carry on clicking here on the arrows to expand the chart, and I can add whatever additional analysis that I've got with no problems at all. Changing the time frames. The signal is ready. The signal is ready. I can click here buy, and it's quite amazing. But for instance, if I would want to, let's say, place just the general idea here, nothing too crazy, just the points, the values that we received from the signals, right? So if I would like to do that, which I'm not obligated in any way, by the way, okay, but this is how it's going to look like. So this is what we received automatically with the signal. We've got a take profit marked for 4,000. We can make possibly 198. The stop loss is marked for 3,943. We can possibly lose 87. Pretty looks fine. I can also extend the lot size to have a bigger position. I can minimize to have a lower position, and the values just stay and I can make it work for what seems good for me. Now, let's take another one just as an example, just understand how quickly this can happen. So we click here on view signal. This is again a buy scenario, so click here on buy, just as an example, and we are good to go. Okay, we're good to go. We can click here buy, and we're good to go. We've got take profit that stops the position automatically with a profit, and stop loss that stops the position automatically with a loss. This is very, very comfortable. It's also important to understand that the signals are not manufactured by AvaTrade. They're manufactured by the third-party company, the Trading Central. One more thing to say, the timeline that we see here, the times are going down. So the highest will be the newest and the oldest will be the lowest. Apart from that, if there are any questions until this point about anything that I said, guys, feel free to ask. Underneath, and this is, by the way, what we just saw will be considered as technical analysis, averages, statistics. All those numbers from the chart are technical analysis. And this will be, like I said, statistics, averages, support and resistance, and so on and so on, indicators, which we're going to use. And fundamental analysis will be the other way around. So we've got the news, articles, what else? Any kind of governmental decisions, God forbid wars, transportation issues. And so on and so on. So how do we get, and this will be the reason, and this will be the how things are moving and why things are moving. So if we'll have a look at the chart here for, let's say, gold, just a quick example. We're not diving into the practical part yet, but I just want you guys to see something real quick here. So if we'll see gold as an example, and we'll make a quick comparison with what happened in the previous years, right? Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I don't think that is wise to do it right now because we're not ripe enough in terms of the progress. So we'll get there very, very soon. But what I did want to show you is, as you can see, I wrote here, there is technical analysis, which we got from the signals, and we can apply on the chart. And there is another side, which is the news, right? So when we look at the chart and we see the market is moving up or down, we understand, okay, those are the boundaries, those are the levels, so we can acknowledge those are the pivot points. But what is driving the market to get to those points? What's happening behind the scenes? What is the logic? So the logic is, like we wrote, fundamental analysis. And if we look in here, we can see the pre-market brief, the US stock suffers sell-off, Bitcoin slides $6, so 6%, sorry. So if we'll go through the articles in here, and we see right at the bottom, we've got 3 related instruments. We've got Bitcoin, Euro, USD, and NASDAQ, right? US underscore Tech 100. Now, this is a very nice and accessible way to get the news. And we've got nice categories in here. Another nice way to do that is underneath at this globy icon, we've got Discovery. Under Discovery, under the Market Buzz, we can get more specific news regarding specific instrument that we want. So we've got here different categories as well. Stocks, cryptos, currencies, commodities, and indices. Okay, right in the middle, we've got Palantir, and we've got NVIDIA, we've got AMD, Tesla, Meta, Facebook, Beyond Meat. Okay, we could also align it like this if we would really want to do this. Okay, but let's go with Palantir for now. We can see we've got various subjects. Not always I want to focus and read all of what is written in here. I don't necessarily have the time for that. So maybe I'll choose something specific like the price target raised and read about that. Then this is just the beginning of my analysis. I'm not going to based on that, I'm going to analyze the market. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the information in here and maybe I would like to explore a little bit more. Maybe I'm going to Google this. Maybe I'm going to ask my associates for additional opinion. Maybe there are lots of things that we can do to enhance the analysis, but this is just to give us an idea of what could be interesting and worth to explore. Underneath, under discovery, we've also got the economic calendar. In the economic calendar, we can get more governmental kind of news. As we can see, nothing is displayed because probably something is selected. So we're going to click on the reset to reset everything back to default, and we'll also correct the range of our selection. So we'll click on the 5th, then we'll click on the 19th, and then with this blue trail selected, we see what dates will be displayed. At the top, where we see 5 November, we've got Wednesday here, and everything is grayed out. We can scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, and when we see that there are nothing white, nothing appropriate, it means that everything is displayed. So we've got all the currencies, all the countries in here, and it's displaying those days that we requested. So what we need to do is we need to select which countries we want to see, to filter out a little bit of information from the unnecessary information we see here. So we're going to select United States for the dollar. We're going to go with the CAD as well, and we'll add a yen. And now we've got only CAD, USD, and yen. Okay, as we can see now, the calendar looks much better. Now we've got 2 here grayed out, and the rest is white. Why do we need the this bright white rather than the gray one? Because of this red line that separates the news. So if we look at how the calendar is constructed, we've got here the name of the day that we see. We've got the last result. We've got a previous result. We've got a range of what expected to happen, the forecast, and we've got the actual result. So things that I see that has a result, naturally they already happened, right? Otherwise, how could I know the result of something that didn't happen? And this is what the red line is doing, separating the events that already happened to future events. And what we see underneath is only future events. And we can see that they are also divided to different levels. And we see low, medium, and high. Now, what if I, for instance, want to focus only on the high impact? We're going to click here on high, and then we'll see only high is selected. Okay, for all of the countries. What if I only want to see high and only want to see high for US? I can deselect Canada, I can deselect Japan, and then this is what we get, right? So this is super simple, very straightforward. As an addition, another nice little feature that I like to use in here will be the last icon from those 5. This is add to calendar. Naturally, to do this properly, I need to remember the time of the event. I need to open my setup. I need to do all the things that I need to do before I'm trading. I can't just log into the platform and click buy or sell. So this helps me be much more organized because now I can book it into my calendar, and then I will get a message on my phone that I have an event in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And to my opinion, that's just amazing, and it's for free and it's very accessible. So why not use it? And we've got here the Maglify, which we can search if we would want it, but I think that this is enough. So let's carry on. We'll click here on the AVA trade. We'll get to the practical part. What I'm going to show you now is a procedural approach on how to compose a position with targets, with numbers that would make sense and can be aligned with your trading plan. So let's delete everything in here. And I'm also going to click on one of the instruments from those categories. Let's click on commodities. Let's click on maybe agriculture. And today, what about coffee? Everybody likes coffee. Well, everybody needs coffee, but not everybody likes coffee. So maybe we'll use it for today. So let's, okay, before we get to business, let's have a little guide through on what's happening here on the top. Welcome to the second part. This is the practical part, what we all have been waiting for. Let's push that down like that, and we'll write coffee here. Coffee. There we go. All right. Okay, the reason that I wrote this for you, oh, let me add the equation as well. So we've got target divided by movements equals, oh, sorry, let's write it like this, will be easier. Sum divided by movements equals units, and then we've got units times movements equals sum. Now we can carry on with ease. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk a little bit about the toolbar here. We already saw this is actually a search bar, by the way. If I'll click here, buy or sell, we'll open the order entry. Now we can trade coffee. Let's suppose I want to switch to NASDAQ as an example. I'll type here NASDAQ and click here, and it changes to NASDAQ. But the problem is that my order entry is still with coffee. So if I'll click here, buy or sell, it will fix the problem and it will display the correct instrument. Now, if, for instance, I want to, in here I can change the time frame. Clicking here, we see that 1 MN, 1 month is selected. We can change it to 1 hour, 1 day if we want. In here, we can change the layout to be something else, like this nice line we see in here. But the problem with the line, it's not really a problem, but we need to understand that the line is going to show us different depths than the candlesticks. So, for instance, this area here was where we see the the tail of that candle. So, well, if we switch to the line, it's not there anymore. Okay. Now, in here we can enable the crosshair. So at the moment, we don't get any numbers from the candles, right? We need to enable the crosshair, click here on the arrow, select the second option. In here, we can split to different charts. Now we've got 2, now we've got 3, now we can even have 4. Very, very simple. In here, we've got indicators, but I'm going to show it to you anyway, so there is no need. In here, we've got plenty of things that we can use to add analysis, but let's bring it back to coffee. So coffee, select, click buy or sell to display the correct one. It seems like we are on 1 day. That's not bad. We're just going to quickly add some analysis in here. Okay, and then we can basically begin. Now, and let's maybe leave a note. Let's see if we can. Okay, so as we spoke about it, one thing that I forgot to mention since we started, and this is the support and resistance that we saw in the beginning. Support and resistance is a concept that just a second. I'll place another one just for the protocol, but we're not going to use that. So what support and resistance is? As you can see, I've put an oval around those areas to show you why I've selected those as support and resistance, and this will be my center line. Let's change the color so we won't be confused. Maybe make it let's make it blue, a little bit or maybe turquoise. Right, so we've got here the resistance, those two peak points that we see were marked 437.92 and then 424.24. Those lines here are to show me that where I think that coffee has an achievement, right? So those levels are typically levels that for me, unless something fundamental will happen, those levels for me are some kind of a limit, okay? And if it passes that level, if it passes that limit for my analysis, then I can make a decision. Okay, we'll see how it goes. We'll see what kind of decision. This could also play a nice role choosing an entry, but we'll get there. So when we're done with the placing those nice things, then we can address what we wrote. Now, the first thing I would like to do is to decide if this is sell or buy. Why do I need to sell it now before I have done any analysis? Because I have to begin with something, and there are only two options, either buy or sell. And as long as I intend on trading coffee, I need to choose one of those. And it doesn't, it's funny as it sounds, it doesn't make a difference what I choose now until I open the position. So I can click buy and sell, and change my mind 100 times until I click here buy and then launch the position. So let's play with the buy. Let's see how it goes. Let's also change the lot size to 0.01. Again, we have to begin with something from something. So I'd rather begin with a minimum. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set myself a target. And the reason is because if I don't have a target, and then my profit area with the buy will always be the higher price, and the loss area will be a lower price. So when I'm buying, my intention is that the value will always increase. The farther it increases, the more I'll make. The farther it goes down, the more I will lose. We're also going to enable execute when price hits, take profit and stop loss. And we're going to bound the entry to the current price, or maybe a bit lower, maybe 407. The take profit that I see at this point, it makes sense to me, will be 417. Okay, we'll push that down. It's in the middle of the middle. As you can see, it's not in here and it's not in here. It's between those two. So this is approximately where we're going to flatten that out. We're going to flatten that out like this, and then we're going to paint it in green. We're going to get rid of this, not to be confused, but we'll keep the higher one. We'll also click on the green rectangle and push it down like this. Now we're going to customize it depending on how we can carry on. Then we click here, and we will use the same ratio. So when I selected 407 as my entry, I'm $10 away. This means that when I'm with the buy, I need to add those $10 to the take profit. And the stop loss is something that I need to subtract. So we're going to take the 407 and we'll make it 397, right? And then we're looking at the same difference, $10 up, $10 down. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to validate if those levels are actual levels. Is this something that I can work with, or those levels are levels that will take time to get to? In this case, what I'm going to do is, like I said, I need to set myself a target. At the moment, it seems like I'm making 100, but it doesn't seem to cut it. I really want to make more than 100 with the $10,000 account. So maybe I'll go a little higher, maybe aim for $700 to make. Another thing that I need to think about will be the time factor. Why? Because $700, if I'll make it in a day, is not bad, right? You have to agree with me, guys. What do you think? Making $700 in a day, is that bad or good? What do you think? Is that good or not? Good for me. Thank you, Bobby. Okay, this might be good for me as well. 700 only with a single position with coffee, that's not bad at all. So of course, I would be happy to make that. What about if this would happen in a week? Okay, not as good. What if this will happen in a month? So I need to hold this position for a whole month to make $700. I'm not even gonna. I'm not sure it's gonna cover the groceries. What if I need to hold this position for a whole year? Maybe the swap by itself will be more. So I need to think about the reasonable time that I'm planning to hold this position. This later on can match to my trading style if I'm scalping, intraday, weekly trade, swing, whatever you like. Okay. So for me, I'm gonna keep it on day 700, hopefully a day. Okay, so we'll place here 1 day. Next thing I'm gonna check will be the movements. Why do I need to think about the movements? Why can't I just click here buy and hopefully as high as it gets, the more we will make? The reason is trading has a psychological aspect as well. When I aim for a certain amount, I know that this is where I've placed to take profit, where I want to close the position. What happens after, I'm not going to be bothered. But this helps me capture if this is a price that I believe that in a day the market will get there or not. If I don't place any target, the market can keep fluctuating and I'm not going to make any money until I'll close the position. Until I'll close the position. This is a super important core fundamental to understanding trading. We're not making profits or loss until we're closing the position or the position will be closed by the platform. We'll speak about it as well. Now, as we can see, the movements in here that we selected are $10. So we're also going to quickly write it down. We're entering everything. So we'll write here entry. Entry is 407. Take profit, we said 417. And stop loss, we said 397. This is $10 away. Now, how do we validate those $10? One nice way is to enable a crosshair and then go candle by candle, subtracting those numbers on daily basis to see what is the difference that we had yesterday. So we're going to take the open minus the close. That's just, there we go. So this is $3.85 and we've got a high 415. I'm just showing you guys, don't do that. Don't do that. It's very time consuming. Okay, in 12. So we've got a minimum of 3 point something and a maximum of 12 that we saw from the average. This is something we can combine and then divide to get the average. Like I said, for beginners, I wouldn't recommend to use this old primitive method because it's time consuming, and if you don't have basic mathematics understanding, you might get confused and get the wrong numbers. What you could do instead, and by the way, taking only one candle is not enough. We need to accumulate a good number of candles. What we can do instead is click here on FX indicators and type the filter. We can type AVE for average true range. We can click and drag slide it to the right. In here, in the length, we can choose whatever amount of candles we want to withdraw the average from. It seems to me that 14 kind of makes sense. Let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This is the weekend, 13 and 14. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Just going to change the color here so I won't be confused. And it seems like, oof, that's very close to what we choose, guys. Just notice how this aligns almost perfectly with what we choose, right? So ATR equals 8,697 based on 14 days, and actual movement expected 10. Now this aligns perfectly with what we wanted, right? This is the average and we wanted $10 away. We're missing only few cents. We're almost the average. This is almost the average. Now, how do we, so we're still not making, everything looks perfect, but we're still not making 700. We're only making 100. How do we fix it? Now we need to choose how many units we want. Okay, so as we can see, the way that the platform calculates our profits and loss is based on the movements and the units. So basically, when we have 0.01, and believe it or not, the lot size for coffee is not 100, is 1,000. In other words, when I select year 1, I don't get 100, I get 1,000. Yeah, this is imperative. This is super important for you guys to understand what I'm telling you right now. Super important. One lot has 1,000 units, so 0.1 has 100, and 0.01 equals 10 and not 1. Okay, this is super important to understand. So by default, we're getting 10 units. 10 units times 10 gives us 100. How many do we need to make 700? Just 7 times more. But I want to be more precise, and I'll do it with using this equation here. The sum is 700. I see people raising their hands. There is no need, guys. In this webinar, you ask away. You can just use the question section, ask whatever you want. I assure you that I see everything. There's no need to click on the to raise your hands and get permission. Just ask away. I'm happy to help. So how do we get? Now we're going to use the equation here. The sum is 700 divided by movements, which is 10, is giving us a 7. Okay, I don't even need a calculator for that. So, but still, let's use a calculator just for the, okay, this will be 70 and not 7. Okay, but for us in this concept, it will be 7. You're going to see in a moment. What we're going to do is we're going to do 700 divided by 10, and then we get 70. Now, be careful not to be confused. If I'll put here 70, okay, that's not what we're looking for. It's not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is 70 in here, which equals to 0.07, okay, because of what I've explained. Because of what I've explained. With gold, this would have needed to be 0.7 as an example. But because of this lot size, that's going to be 0.07. Okay, like I said, the webinar is recorded. You can watch it again as many times as you want if this is difficult to understand, but I have to carry on and I want to carry on, so we're just going to write it down as it is. So units, that's going to be 70 units. Okay, like that, you should understand. So we've got all of this set for us. It seems perfect. 700, the numbers looks good. The averages looks good. Everything looks good. The only thing I'm going to write here is also the possible profit and loss, so we can match to what ratio we want, because not always we want to make and lose 700. Sometimes we want to have a better ratio, a different ratio. So what will happen is we're going to write here, this is 7% out of our balance. And my question to you guys is simply, how can I adjust the 7? Let's suppose I want to cut this 7% by half. Okay, I want to maintain 700 as my possible profit, but my possible loss, I want it to be 3.5. So how can this be done? How can I maintain the profit as 7%, but lower my exposure to 3.5? Who knows? How can this be done, guys? Who can tell me? Obviously, let's just quickly do this calculation here. 10,000 multiply 3.5% is 350. Okay, so how do we get to 350 from 700 that we see right now? We said that units times movements equals the sum, right? So one of those things needs to change. If we change the units, what will happen is we're going to this will impact our profit as well, right? Because we just increased the units to get the 700. What's the other solution, guys? What can be done here to lower the, maintain the profit, but still get the lower exposure? Moving the stop loss. Thank you, Aria. Very good, Aria. So like Aria wrote, moving the stop loss, but where? Where? Farther down? No. In a buy scenario, we need to get it closer to the, good job, Lauren, as well. Good job. So towards the entry, right? So if we use the same exercise, and for instance, we'll cut this by half. Now, instead of looking $10 away, we'll be looking $5 away. So this 407 minus 5 instead of 10, okay? And now if we change it like this, it should show us, what we are looking for. Let's see. See together, we'll change it. Okay. And we've got a ratio of 1 to 2, just like that, in less than a minute. And everything seems perfect from all aspects to me. Now I can begin doing analysis, and I'm happy with the numbers. The last validation that I want to make is that I actually have the budget to take the position. Like I said previously, guys, if there are any questions, if there is anything that is unclear, feel free to let me know. Now I want to know how, if I've got the budget to take the position. So we've got something called price per unit, which will be displayed here, buy or sell. And in a price per unit, we see 408, the price per unit. And if we go price per unit times number of units, which is 70, as we said, 70, this is where we get the value. The value is 28,540. Okay, that's the value. Now we've got the leverage. The leverage is 1 to 10. What this means is, it means that now I have the ability. It doesn't mean I have a loan now or anything like that. It's just the leverage is a multiplier. It multiplies my buying or selling to give me the ability to open a bigger position. It does not affect directly on making or losing more, but it gives me the ability for more units, and it can happen as a result of that. Okay, just to understand. Now, if we look, and what this means is, it means that because we are multiplied by 10, we don't really need the whole value. What we need is value divided by leverage to get the margin impact, okay, which is 2,856. Okay, and this is actually what we need, and of course, to open this position won't be a problem at all. Oh, one more thing I wanted to do before we wrap it up is to maybe get the value for the stop loss to what we said that it will be. So this was 402, like this, and we'll flatten that out, of course, and we can make it red, and our position now looks like this. Very, very nice. Yeah, if anyone has anything to ask or add at this point, I'm happy to help. Any questions, anything that is not understood, I'm happy to help. Question from George, but why 402? Okay, so George, you're asking about the 402, the stop loss. Why 402? Okay. What we had in the beginning let's recap this real quick, so maybe this will you will understand a bit better. In the beginning, we just roughly placed those lines. We've placed those lines, we looked at the direction, we thought, okay, what this is going to be, a buy or sell. We placed those resistance and support. We wrote down those targets, we wrote down the target, we wrote down 1 day. We also placed tentatively those levels that seems fine to us, and then we checked it with the ATR to see that the numbers aligned. Initially, I choose $10 away. It seems like the ATR gave us 9.8697, which is almost 100% of what we were looking for. As a result, we had 0.01. As a result, we increased the lot size for a bigger quantity to match to what we wanted to achieve. And then we actually got to what you asked. We got to this adjustment. So initially we looked at 700 and 700, and the reason that I changed it to 402 is to minimize my loss, because I'm happy to make 7% a day, but even this might be a lot, by the way. Even this is something that I might cut by half as well, but never mind. To explain to you why I've done it is to have another ratio, okay, profit and loss ratio. I hope it makes sense. Oh, okay, you're asking why specifically 402? Because this is half of the length that we choose. Half of the length. Okay, you understand? This is $10 away, and this is $5 away, and this is why. This is why I've divided that by 2. Yeah, you see, easy question with an easy solution. All right, guys. So unfortunately, our time is up. Thank you all for coming and joining us today. I hope that this webinar shed some light on your strategy, and now you can implement and make it a bit better. You're all welcome to join us the next time we'll have it. Until then, best of luck with trading. Have a fruitful week and have a good day.